there's anything else you guys would like to do that night, you can take a long rest.
Um, I want to talk to Claudia before we take the rest.
Okay.
Sorry, trying to find my notes. Where did I put? I know I want to ask her about the Tabaxi. Ask her, if people tend to come through here a lot. What type of people? Is she aware? Do we have anything to be concerned about? That type of thing.
I'm gonna be honest. When you mentioned the Tabaxi a minute ago, I was like, oh, I don't remember which Tabaxi. I've got I've got a lot of like stuff built out for this area, but I don't remember which Tabaxi ran through there.
Um, okay, well, I think I rolled a nat 20 or something for this one when I found Tabaxi tracks that were about a week old.
Oh, you didn't actually see a Tabaxi.
Negative. They
Okay,
looked
okay,
about a week old.
okay. That's why I didn't recall it.
Yeah, and they were running parallel to our path on the way back from the river. Not parallel, sorry. What's the other word? What's the opposite of parallel?
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular.
Okay. So, do you seek her out like after dinner or like while you guys are eating? You guys caught some fish to cook, right?
Yeah, we had that for lunch.
Oh, okay.
I
Um,
would actually catch her the second we step into camp, and then I would also want to talk to her about hunting and eating meat before dinner.
okay. So you probably catch her as she's walking in with. Oh, I got some feedback. With Stella and Silas. Silas looking a little defeated. Stella, um, covered in mud, kind of half washed off. Um,
Hey, Claudia. Ice,
hey,
Silas, and Stella. Looks like a productive day. Can I talk to you for a second?
yeah, sure. What's up?
So on our way back from the river, I found some Tabaxi tracks. Didn't look that they were heading this way, but she kind of looks around the wide, empty plain. How, do you often get people coming through here?
Uh, Not often, but they're around. It's not like there's no one around here.
Do any of these people ever cause you any trouble?
Oh, not usually. People usually like to keep to themselves.
Okay, so they're probably just passing through.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not like a scary person or anything, but people generally know that you know shouldn't uh try their hand here.
Ah, I see. Understood. Another question I had for you. I noticed most of what you, well, I noticed all of Kiwi passed through. That's what it was. Um, I noticed, you tend to cook without meat. Is that a personal choice? Are you okay with us consuming meat? Are you okay with us hunting in the area for our food?
Oh, what you do is your business. I cook what I like and what I feel comfortable with, and what I think is you know sustainable.
Fair. That was mainly it. Thank you.
Oh, uh, um, with hunting, I mean, you're welcome, but just keep in mind, you know, uh, uh, some of the food can hunt back.
Oh, we saw where's my notes? Not owl bears. Owl bison? Was that
Yeah,
what we saw last week? Oh
yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. Did someone catch tracks of them or see them?
I know they're around. I don't know. You probably wouldn't be able to tell they were owl bison just by their tracks because they would have looked like bison tracks, but bigger. I think
I
she mentioned owl bison at one point,
Oh,
like
that's where we
to
got.
mind the owl bison.
Okay. Oh, like the owl bison?
Yeah.
How hard are those to take down?
Um. Depends on the numbers
Say a couple people.
and how many of them.
Oh, do they usually travel in herds?
Oh yeah.
How many typically in a herd?
Um. It's hard to count, but like a lot.
Understood. Are there any predators that we need to be concerned about if we were not hunting them? Or do you have some sort of ward up on this camp?
Oh, no wards. No, no. Yeah, we try to keep the magic to a minimum here. Um if you look really tasty, you know, the giant sometimes there's giant hawks and eagles and things. You might want to keep out of sight if you see them circling. Um don't try to play dead and be careful about getting dehydrated because of vultures. Um, there's some things beneath the ground. Um, some things on the ground. Some things that don't look that scary, but just in general, there's a lot of things that could kill you. But it's not like death is around every corner. You just don't step on someone who doesn't want to be stepped on.
Get a habit to step on people. But thanks for the heads up. Um,
Yeah.
might see if anyone would be interested in. We'll see if anyone's interested in the next couple days while we're here. Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Anything else for the night? We already resolved Silas in the mirror, so with that,
Yeah, I'm just
everyone
waiting till morning.
yep, everyone can take a long rest and we will awaken the next morning.
So Mara is not normally known for being a morning person, but knowing that Silas is, Mara is actually going to make an effort to rise with the sun to try to get a moment alone with Silas.
If that's the case, you'll probably find him tending to Wrath.
That's exactly where I expected him to be. So you would see Mara up and awake and actually quite bright-eyed for this early in the morning. And she would approach you while you're tending to Silas, like, "Hey, Silas, how's it been?"
You're up
Just
early.
Well, I mean, I wanted to get a chance to talk with you, and I know that you get all your chores in early, so I figured I could maybe sneak in a chat while you're doing things, if that's okay.
It's an ambush.
I'm an ambush.
A figure of speech.
Not really, actually. I hope I'm not out of place with this. I just kind of, noticed your demeanor when you came back from training yesterday, and I'm pretty good at arcane stuff, and I thought maybe you might want to chat about it with someone who can keep up with the conversation.
I unfortunately do not understand or Kane. So in my mind, this is just a complete waste of time. I don't see myself being able to achieve whatever Claudia wants us to achieve.
All of your training has been focused around physical, right?
Yes.
Do you and I hope I'm not out of place with this, but do you mind if maybe I could show you a different kind of meditation that might help if you want to continue down this path? Otherwise, I can happily bring you back to town so you can pursue something else. Like I'm a pain in the road, and I saw you had some struggles, and I don't need to be, you know, helicopter about it. But I would like to help if you would like to pursue this.
how do you intend on helping?
I have a meditation in mind that I think might help you see things in a slightly different way. But you can, of course, continue. You can take care of Wrath. This isn't a rush, but it might prepare you for what Cludia has in her training.
All layers, so tell me what you got. How am I supposed to see these rips in time and space or whatever she wants us to see? Because I honestly see nothing. I feel
All right.
nothing.
Well,
I sense nothing.
I think I can help with this. Follow me out to the field while I tell you a story. And is Silas done tending to Wrath? Is Wrath all settled and happy as much as Wrath can be?
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay. So Mara would start to lead you out to the field where there's tall, overgrown grass. It goes up to about your waist. Maybe a little bit taller on you since you're. Actually, you might be the same height as Mara. How tall are you?
5'9".
5'9". Oh, you're a little bit taller than Mara. She's 5'4", but it goes to about your chest. So there's nice tall grass around you. She leads you out, and she starts to tell you a story. She says, "So, growing up, I did a lot of book learning, and I learned things in concept, but never got to experience them physically. And you grew up with a lot of physical training, and you only learned things through the physical realm." Where I had to use a lot of my imagination at play. So I'm hoping, and she leads you out to a path and she starts to pat down the grass around us so it forms a nice, like, circular little spot for us to hang out in while we're just surrounded by the grass. I learned a few things when I was sent out into the physical world with nothing. My graduation final that wasn't a real final, I found myself 3 towns away with nothing but a single copper piece in my pocket, and I had to get home. So I learned very quickly that what I learned in books and what I imagined was not necessarily so. So I would like you to take that similar concept but flip it, and I would like you to think of all of your physical lessons that you have learned and suddenly being put in a place elsewhere where none of those are necessarily so, but they still hold weight. And at this point, Mara will reach her hands out. Is Silas okay with her touching her? Like, she kind of hesitates for a moment before putting them on his shoulder. Like, does he consent to this?
He'll consent.
Okay. So she kind of like positions him so they're both in the center of the circle. And she takes her hand and she raises his right arm up so it's perpendicular to his body while his left arm is still hanging. And she says, so your arm, you're reaching out and you can feel your arm. You know everything about your arm. You know everything about the muscles. You have memory built into these arms. So you are reaching out. And now I would like you to close your eyes.
His eyes.
And your arm is still out. Your physical arm is still out. And she kind of like hesitates for a moment, thinks for a second, and kind of like shifts you 1 inch to the right, just like in a semicircle. And she says, okay, so right now your arm is sticking out. Your shoulder is up against a wall. I am telling you right now, in the Arcana sense, your shoulder is pressing up against a solid wall of planar material, but your arm is sticking out straight. So I want you to think beyond where your arm is, and I want to think about where your shoulder is. And I want you to sit with that for just a minute. And she'll let him sit and possibly roll an Arcana roll if you would like to make one right now.
I make one?
Yeah, go ahead. That was a 10. Bree, how does that vibe with what you're describing?
Well, actually, it's more like, Dan, what does he feel? Because basically, I'm trying to get him to think in a different way of finding the wall, of giving him a place where his physical is directly contradictory to the Arcana, so that he can have a moment of shifting. So, what does a 10 yield in that Arcana roll for him trying to feel that wall?
He would not be able to feel it.
So
Okay.
you're saying that my arm is sticking out. I physically know it's sticking out, but you're saying that there's a wall and my arm is sticking through it.
Your arm is not sticking through the wall. There is a wall there. Your shoulder is against it. Your arm is not on the same plane as the wall. So your arm that you are sticking out has nothing to do with what you're trying to sense. I was hoping that you being able, maybe thinking of a way to disassociate from the arm and feel just what you're feeling on your shoulder. So it's right aligned on your shoulder right now. If you can try to think past your own arm.
Bree, do you have that
Feels-
die on you?
I don't have a die on me and I'm so sad.
Okay. I will roll for Mara. Okay. She rolled really well. So, I don't know if you've ever seen kind of like phantom limb stuff where like they put someone's arm over and behind a barrier where they can't see it, and they touch a prosthetic arm and the actual arm in the same like motions and gestures
Yes, that's what I was
while
going
the fake
for.
arm is in view. Yeah, so the key would be to have an analog, or what you could also do is you could kind of have him put his arm behind his back um and obscure it from view entirely, um and have him put in a position where it kind of numbs it, where it kind of cuts off circulation but not completely, to where it's almost numb. And then you could do something like maybe manipulate his fingers or something like that and try to have him guess like how many he's holding out or something like that, but something where it actually disassociates him from the arm other than just closing his eyes. So you'd have to come up with some sort of technique to try to get him to either associate something different with it or completely disassociate with it.
Okay. I think I have an idea. Okay. So Mara will gather up. Are there just like, can I grab like a couple of sticks? Like, are there sticks on the ground? Can I like
There
make a
wouldn't
bundle of
be a
like
ton of sticks because there's not really
grass?
trees, but there's a lot of tall grasses and stuff that you could kind of like twist into a makeshift rope.
Okay. All right. Silas, if you'll just bear with me for a moment, I think I might have one more idea to try to help explain this concept. And Mara will start gathering up grass and start to bind it together. So it kind of creates like a little makeshift arm. And she'll actually take her cloak off. Underneath, she just wears like +1 leather armor. But she'll take her cloak off and put it around Silas. So that it drapes over this, like, she'll like rig up this fake arm that, so like he can see that there's an arm sticking out from a cloak, but it's all covered. And she'll be like,
So
okay,
is it covering my arm, or you're just attaching it to
well,
like
I
the
want
shoulder?
you to put your arm behind your back, and if it's okay, I want to put you in a slightly uncomfortable position for your arm, but I promise I won't hurt you, and you could probably kill me if you wanted to.
My arm is already uncomfortable because I've been holding it up this entire time.
Well, now we're going to twist it the entire other way, so it might be comfortable for a brief moment. Enjoy that. So I'll twist Silas's arm behind his back. I do have like a length of rope. If he's okay with it, I may tie him so that his arm is forced to like be in a specific uncomfortable position.
Are you sure this is? Sure.
Look, I'm not like trying to like hurt you or anything. I just want you to like just put your arm behind your back. This is fine. And then no, we can just do this with the arm. I think it'll be fine with just the arm. But put your arm behind your back. We don't have to tie it. That's fine. I might have gotten ahead of myself. Just put your arm behind your back, and like Mara will rig up like a fake arm, and I'm like, okay, so this arm sticking out now is your arm. Your arm is behind your back. Forget that. That doesn't exist right now. So that's your arm sticking through over there, and your shoulder is currently pressed up against a wall. And this may have gotten complicated.
Am I trying to move this fake arm? Because I don't think this is how it works.
No, this isn't how it works at all. Mara's like getting flustered trying to explain like these concepts of Arcana that she's never tried to verbalize before. Okay, you know what? Okay, just put your arms down, just put it there. There's a wall right here next to you, so just like lean to your right, and at the same moment that he's leaning to his right, Mara is going to attempt, she's going to spend a warlock spell slot to attempt to send a small ripple of energy through the wall so that he can feel it on his shoulder. Like, is that a thing that I can do?
And it's not an actual wall that I'm pressed against, right?
It's an Arcana wall. It's nebulous. They all exist. But Dan is
what's the closest spell you have to what you're trying to do?
Unfortunately, the closest spell for what I'm trying to do is Shatter, because Shatter literally sends ripples through the plane.
Let me read Shatter real quick.
Yeah, no, Shatter is like, this is probably terrible. Silas is gonna punch me in the face and hate me forever now. I hope
Shatter
it's not Shatter
isn't necessarily something to do with the planes.
You know, like, I actually have Misty Step. Misty Step technically uses interdimensional travel, and so it does affect the wall. like some sort of dimensional travel. I think I have like 3 different things that allow me interdimensional travel of some vague sort.
Okay. But oh, you haven't been a part. No, you have had the conversation with Cludia where she said that's kind of a brash method that doesn't actually find the gaps, it tears a hole.
Yeah, I'm not trying to tear a hole or find a gap. I'm trying to flick the wall so that he can see that there is a wall because he's a very physical and spaced person. I'm trying to provide him with some sort of physical proof. So I'm merely trying to like flick the wall or cause a vibration in the wall or like pound on the wall, not necessarily break it. But I'm willing to spend an entire warlock spell slot, which I think is 6th level now for me, to get it done. But I'm not trying to actually break anything.
Yeah. um let me look at your class because I don't know that you actually have a method of manipulating this.
That's totally legit because I know that some warlocks actually do.
Yeah.
This isn't something I'm supposed to see, right?
It's more about feeling, it's not about seeing.
Is it something I've felt before? A feeling
I'm
that
not
I
sure if
might be
you've ever
familiar
felt
with.
something like this before.
Shatter, thunderstep, tongues. So you do have plane shift, but you don't have a tuning fork for it.
No, but I'm not trying to go anywhere. I'm just trying to flick
Yeah.
the wall.
You also have scatter.
Oh, scatter's a great one. That one can
You
absolutely touch on the wall.
Yeah, you could jaunt him through space. Have you ever scattered Silas before?
I have not. No.
Yes, you have. We did it in when we were fighting Kaskarov.
Okay, technically that was a brain simulation, so but yes, I did
Yeah,
in
so
that.
he would not have physically sensed that. Um so yeah, you could try to scatter him and just make sure you prep him for what he's supposed to be feeling beforehand.
You need to hit me, hit me.
Well, I don't need to hit you for this. This is no, I just need your consent. That would be ridiculous to hit you. So if I can send you through space, but before I do this, I want you to actually focus and meditate on what you are physically feeling while I am doing this. Because it's going to help you out with Cludia's training if you know exactly how it feels to be sent through. And I'm pretty sure this spell won't really mess up her fields at all too much. It's a pretty low key spell, all in told, if you're cool with it. But you need to. I just want you to. Since you weren't able to feel it before, I'm gonna make you feel it, but I want you to be prepared to retain everything you're feeling.
All right, so you're gonna use this spell on me, and I need to really feel it.
Actually, we should walk farther away from camp for this. I don't know how close she wants this kind of stuff. Do you mind walking for like 30 minutes with me in a general direction?
Sure. Been sillier things.
I don't know how thin things are here. I don't want to mess up anything or mess up what she's doing.
So the
But
teleportation
basically,
circle was only about 10 minutes away from camp.
okay, so we'll go near the teleportation circle because that's already contaminated with planar travel. So that seems like an effective spot to do this.
Let's go. Wrath will be okay.
Right, and then when we get to the circle, Mara will position you in front of her. She will use scatter as my ability lets me use, and I will actually take both of us, and I will transport us just 100 paces to the left. And then I'll give Silas a moment beforehand to take a deep breath and center himself, and then we'll transport 100 paces to the left, and we will come back. And does
Before
this
you
grant
actually
him
do it,
another?
can you do it slow so I can really feel what I'm so trying to feel here? Or does it have to be like an instant thing?
So the duration is instantaneous, but she can, kind of prep you for the exact moment. She can kind of start doing the incantations of the spell, and then she can hold it up to 6 seconds, so you can kind of like focus yourself, and then she can release it.
Okay.
That would definitely be my intent.
Hit me with it.
So as she starts prepping the spell, let's see. I want you to do some sort of wisdom based check. Let me see what would be or actually
Isn't it just a
Oh,
straight up wisdom
also,
saving throw?
it
by the
wouldn't be a
way,
saving
Silas,
throw. So I would say you could either use survival or nature or arcana.
actually, I want to describe something because per the wording of the spell, as you start to shift to your next location, the world around you starts to actually blur and go a little fuzzy and start to shift into the next location as you're traveling through it. So your vision actually does get blurry and starts to do like a kind of little, movie animation kind of blend into the next realm, like per the mechanics of the spell. So you get a little bit of a physical effect happening while you are participating in it.
So you said nature? Nature
So
survival?
it could be arcana, nature, or survival, and you'll get slightly different aspects of them, but probably whatever is the highest for you would be best.
Can I give him assistance to give him this an advantage?
You're giving him the ability to do this at all.
Okay, that's fair.
And then if he does well on this, it will help with what he does with Claudia later today.
Okay, cool. That was end goal.
14. Yeah, so that's decent. uh you get a good sense of kind of where you're at, and you feel yourself jaunted, and it's not like a physical jerk, like it's not like you're being shaken, it's not like you're being pulled, it's like space is being pulled around you. It's not even like a gust of wind where you like feel it against your skin. It's this kind of instantaneous uh it's almost like gravity shifting around you, where you kind of like feel your force on the earth just normal, and then you kind of feel like that increases, and then it almost disappears, and then it bursts back until it kind of hits a normal level. It's not something that like you can feel on your skin or in the air or even in your gut. It's just kind of this slight pressure that kind of leaves you uneasy, and visually you it's almost like a crossfade, but at the same time, you almost see this smear of space go past you. So the visual and what you kind of feel as physical don't necessarily align, but you get a sense of this something that's slightly beyond what you're used to your normal senses being. Like you felt an aspect of the world around you that you hadn't before, but only enough to know that it was unnatural, not necessarily that it's a sense you now have.
So in my mind, as a player first, at an amusement park, the spinning wall thing, like
Mhm.
when you're stuck on a wall because it's spinning, that kind of force. Is that what
Yeah.
you're kind of describing?
Yes, but put it to a much lower degree. It's almost like, let's say you were on that spinny thing and it wasn't going at a constant speed. Let's say it was spinning and it started to speed up real quick, then it slowed down, then it sped up real quick, then it slowed back down to how it was going. It would be like kind of feeling that like wave of pressure. And yes, on that spinny thing, you would feel the air going across you, but this is that without that
Without that
airflow.
air.
Yeah.
But with all that happening, it's such an immense force that you feel. Let's just
Yeah.
take the air out of that. That force you feel. How do I derive that to a stupid crack in the air or wherever it is? Am I supposed to feel that force, even the tiniest bit?
So it's one of those things where like it it's just something you haven't been in tune to ever before to even really know that it was a thing. So it's now that you kind of know that it exists. So I'm trying to think of a good example of it. What I'm going back to, and I don't know if it's going to translate it at all,
Like,
is when I started learning graphic design and typography and things like that, the spacing between letters is called kerning. And I was never in tune to that before. Like I would see text and it's like, okay, that's text. And once I was aware of kerning, the spacing between the letters, and like sometimes it's off and like some letters have more space than others and it looks weird. It's like when I first started doing it, I might not be able to know like how to adjust it and make it look right, but I could look at it and be like, "Oh, hey, those letters aren't spaced properly." It's like you're starting to become aware of a thing, but you're not necessarily like you don't have
I
knowledge
think
of
I
it.
kind of get it because
Is it?
in college when we're doing like drawing 1, 2 or whatever for even graphic design, they tell you to be aware of the negative space. You're drawing an
Yeah.
object, but realize that there's also around the object that you need to pay attention to.
Yeah, the like composition, like if you never took any classes or whatever, you might just draw something on a sheet of paper and like just center it or whatever. And you're not like composition isn't even a consideration you would take into account. But once you start to have someone pointing out, like, oh, that could look better if like they were slightly off center or their face is kind of going into the edge of the page. If they had more space in front of their face, you'd feel kind of this emptiness, which might give it some more emotion. Or maybe if you push their face into a corner, it makes it feel stressful. And it's like, if you never thought about composition before, it might not even occur to you. But once you see it, you're like, oh, I can see how the space around this head makes it feel different. Even if you don't know how to manipulate it yourself yet.
Is it also fair to say that it's the difference between physics and quantum physics?
Kind of, but I also don't know
I
how
mean, that's
you'd
like
feel
super
that.
basic, but yeah, no, your artist
Yeah.
renditions were way better.
Yeah, like I think composition is actually a pretty good analog for it, because yes, it's something you see with your eyes, but it's not necessarily like a thing you just see. It's a thing that you process with your brain based on other stimuli. If that makes any sense.
You're right. You're right. It is way more like that.
It's like those 3D eye spy things where when you look at it the right way, you can see a shape in a repeating pattern.
That is actually a really good
That's
example.
so
Like
perfect.
when
Yes.
you can't like get the actual image, but you start to see things crossing, and you start to see that like extra depth in the image, and you can see there's something there, but you can't actually make out what it is yet.
Okay. I kind of get it. I get the feeling. I don't quite see what I'm supposed to see, but I get I'm not supposed to see. Um, I will
Well,
try
I'm
to take this into my next lesson, but I'm still a little unsure of what exactly I'm looking for.
And that's okay too, because honestly, the Arcana is really hard, and I'm not entirely sure I have a good grip on it to begin with myself. So I'm glad that I was able to help in some way. Have you had breakfast yet?
I have not.
Let's go get some carbs in you, and maybe it'll form in your brain. I hear carbs are good for that. And then Mara will, start to lead him back towards the camp from the teleportation circle. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, do you have any other questions for me about the Arcana? I'm not like the best teacher or anything, but I know some stuff sometimes.
How long have you practiced the arcane arts?
Oh, pretty much like my entire life at this point. I mean, like, not really. Like, a lot of things growing up was like, learning how to have skills and things. Um, but it's been pretty much like my church has a lot of different arcana of a lot of different types. Like, we have like druids, sorcerers, and we have an entire wizard tower up in a mountain somewhere. I haven't seen it yet, but I hear it's really cool. Um, and so yeah, there's like I just basically learned that there's like a lot of ways to learn the arcana, and there's a lot out there.
Great. So I need to somehow learn something that you've practiced for, I'm assuming your age is like 25 or something. For
Oh, no, no,
25
no, no.
years
Okay, so see,
in a
see,
day or
void
two.
walking. Void walking. I've never practiced that before. I've never actually done that. No, this is like brand new to me too. I just happen to have other knowledge, but like this whole thing, like, completely new to me as well. Like, I've never considered the planes in the way that they have been presented to me in the last 7 days, and it has absolutely shattered my worldview on everything.
I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, nothing I've learned in the last like month or so is anything that they taught me in school at all. So I'm also kind of just like winging it here. Don't tell anybody. I told them all it was fine.
Well, at least somebody will get it. It seems like you and Stella get this way more than I do. And you're not even training for this, and you know way more than I do.
Well, we're all learning together, and that's the important thing. So if you need some help trying to come up with creative ways to describe Arcana, I'm happy to help you figure out those words because I want to know them too.
Well, let's see what Claudia has in store for us, and I'll keep what you taught me in mind.
Let me know how it goes. And at this point, I figured we'd be back at the tent and Mara would run off for hash browns.
Okay. Yeah, there would definitely be hash browns again.
That's pretty much what I
Bruce would ask if anyone wanted to return to the. Would anyone like to return to the river with me? We could get there in an instant now. I've cast my sanctuary there, so we can go at any time.
Actually, before that, Dan, if you allow me to retcon, I just realized the other thing on my note for today's session. The night before was the full moon. Can I go searching for flowers?
Yeah.
Cool. Just a survival check, correct?
Yes.
Was that an advantage or not? I don't remember. It's been a while since I've done this.
I think it was advantage for this during the full moon. I'll let you know the DC here is going to be a lot harder.
That's fine.
You're able to find where would that be? How far are you willing to go and walk around and search for these?
I have 4 hours. So 2 hours out, 2 hours back-ish.
2 hours out in which direction?
Good question.
So,
Um,
just to remind you, you are in tall grass.
uh-huh. Hang on. Let me roll a d4 to pick a direction. North. I will go north.
Just out into the fields?
Yep.
Okay. In the thick of the fields, sorry, I'm trying to orient things I had set out on the map for cardinal directions because I didn't really have cardinal directions. I know how they're oriented, but I'm trying to just rotate the map in my head. Yeah, in this direction, you'd just be in tall grass for the whole depth of it. And so you can't really see much more than a few feet ahead of you in any direction. And actually, with that just being out in the tall grasses, you're going to have to make a navigation check, which I think would be survival.
Okay, is that a straight roll?
Yeah. Okay. So you are able to head in that direction and back and eventually find your way back to camp. But as you're moving through this sea of grass, without the sun in the sky, but you're in tune enough with the moon and the stars and things like that to maintain your sense of direction and get back to camp without losing track of your direction.
Okay. And then we're going back to the morning again. Ice will take up Bruce's offer of going back to the river.
This river thing, is it during our classes or something extra?
I think it's like how we're passing the time as you and Stella are training.
And so I'm guessing you're kind of saying this to the whole party as everyone's there at breakfast.
I am, yeah, in response to Bruce
I
asking.
meant Ice Rose and Roos about going to the water.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can take. Let me count and remember if it's 5 plus me or including me. You and up to 5. So yeah, I can take along 5 other people with me. I'm just gonna head back to the river and put the temple back over the water as a pier and have another nice relaxing day fishing.
So that's 6 total, and there's 7 players. Okay, that gels with what I was thinking. Cludia will walk over to Stella and say, "Oh, it would be good for you to spend some more time around water. Let me teach you another couple meditation techniques, and that would be good for you to go along too." And so Cludia will, if Stella allows, take her aside and just kind of chat with her for 20 minutes or so away from the party.
Bruce would ask, Cludia, it is all right if I cast word of recall here, right? It'll teleport us to the river. Does it do any harm to your area if we do it here?
Let me look that up real quick.
I can steer the text too. If that's helpful.
And by the way, there is bear. Where is my sheet? Bear jerky. Smoked bear meat. That is just. Do we have a table?
Oh yeah, there's a few tables in the center yurt TP like structure.
Cool. There will be smoked bear meat and let's say scrambled eggs because we just came from town. I most likely have brought eggs with.
Silas will definitely partake.
Oh, Nugget's one of my 5 willing creatures. I just realized.
I thought you for a second. I thought you said you were going to eat nuggets.
A willing creature to be eaten. What?
So I had already ruled with Nugget and Chudward that I'm not going to have them count against the number of creatures for those group spells because I don't want to punish you guys for having pets.
Until we eat them.
So yeah, you would be able to take Stella with as well.
Wonderful. Well, myself and Ice Rose and Stella. Anyone else coming along to the river?
I'm assuming Naya would want to go.
Yeah, she would probably go too.
I mean, there's nothing really else to do, so yeah, Luthien will go.
How many is that? So Ice Rose, Stella, Luthien.
There's 7 players. There's 7 players. So if you can take 6, you can take everyone except for Silas.
Oh, okay. Mara, would you like to go as well? She's already gone. All right. Well, I will. We can, I guess, retcon that if she wants to go, she can come with. If not, then she will stay behind.
Mhm.
Cool. Well, everyone get within about 5 feet of me, and we will be off. What time should we be back, Cludia?
Oh, in time for dinner. And just as a clarification, she would say it's fine to do, but please, walk at least 10 minutes away from the camp to do so.
Okay. And how far was it to the river? It was like
It was over an hour, I think. I think
Okay.
it was like 2 hours away.
Perfect. Okay. Well, then we will walk 10 minutes away, and I will gather everyone around and say, all right, well, here we are. We'll make our way there. Now, we do have to walk back. Actually, no, we don't. No, yes, we do. I apologize. We will have to walk back. So we'll have to leave a couple hours before we want to make it back. And with that, I will say, everyone ready? And I'll take the overwhelming silence as a yes. And I will cast what is recall.
That's not how consent works.
Oh,
I cast the spell already. And everyone who was within 5 feet of me and was willing would have we will appear like about, I don't know, 20 yards or so away from where the trail meets the water, right along the shoreline. And then Roos will walk over. For those who weren't with us yesterday, I'm going to go make a nice long extended a pier or dock over the water. It is open to all of us. And today, Naya, I'll even make sure that Fae are allowed in too, in case Chud wants to come in. And then I will cast that again, Temple of the Gods, in the same spot, same configuration, so kind of like sticking out over the water with a, and like with enough on the land to keep it upright. And then I would go out and start fishing again.
Okay.
Ice will join in the fishing.
All right. Yeah, let's resolve some of that first before we jump over to Silas. You each could roll survival. Okay, both of that is going to be plenty. We're in plains.
Quite the fisherman, Ice Rose. Well done.
I haven't caught anything yet.
Well, just your style.
Ash isn't here, so I don't know if Chud would be stealing my fish again.
That is true.
Each of you roll me a d20.
D20.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
Okay, and then roll 2d4 for each of you.
I actually get hurt fishing. What happens? Like I actually get physically hurt.
Oh, 2d4.
Yeah, roll another one.
Yeah.
I was like, how'd you get one with 2d4? I was about to be really impressed.
So,
I have a -1 on all my dice.
each of you catch one catfish weighing 5 pounds and 3 pounds, respectively.
5 people. Yeah, it's enough to feed everyone still.
Who catches the 5?
You did. With
okay.
the 5.
Oh, I see. You're spread it going down top to bottom. Okay. Great. Well, we have another successful day fishing, and I'll keep fishing even though I don't catch anything further.
Yep.
I will start cooking the fish.
Okay. Luthien.
I will also, if you'll allow me, just throughout the day, I'm going to be using keen smell to just kind of like try to smell the these owl bison, so I could point, if they come within the right way or if the wind goes the right way, so I can point Ice Rose in the right direction in case she's curious.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your scent check at advantage.
I just did,
Okay.
and I got a nat 20. All right. Well, I mean, it was survival. Maybe I should do it different, but that's where my keen scent is. Like when I click that, it says,
Yeah. What's your wisdom mod, or your perception mod?
Perception, passive perception.
Just the modifier for it.
Oh, up top.
It would be in your skills list.
Perception is +2.
Okay. So, with your natural 20, you're trying to smell in the air for bison, but you actually kind of start to smell something in the water that smells like a lot of animals have just bathed in it upstream. You smell kind of the that animal sweat and just kind of like almost that like dog smell, that like gets in fur and lingers there,
Yeah.
and uh small amounts of like feces and stuff that gets stuck in their fur and mud and tracked from all over. Just all this like old caked animal stuff that has been washed off of enough animals that you can smell it in the water.
I will let Ice Rose now say, Ice Rose, it my nose does not really deceive me. So it's noticing that there's definitely been a large number of animals with pretty distinct and sharp odors upstream of us in the water recently. Um, I would be careful if you head that way, but it could be interesting to see what is up there. Also, if you would need company, I could always get us there and make us invisible as well for a brief amount of time.
Uh,
For
yeah.
only
would
for a
be-
minute, but when we get close enough, that 1 minute can be quite helpful.
I would be curious to see what's up there. Sounds like there's either a crossing point or a watering hole of some sorts.
Seems like it's definitely a lot of odors coming from there. So
Any that you recognize in particular?
just the smell of very of wild animals with most likely with fur. It's just the sort of musky, mildewy smell that wild animals give off.
I see. Yes, I would like to take you up on an offer. And by the way, that is a very useful ability you have there with that nose.
Oh well, thank you. Yes, well, I was born with it, but I have worked over the years to craft it and make it a little bit more keen.
Oh, good to know.
I would also let me also, just so that we don't disappear off into nowhere. Let me also let the others know. I'm not sure many of them would want to come, but uh, seeing some unique animals is always a treat. So I'll let them know, and I will find Luthien and Naya and say, well, we're at some point soon we're going to head upstream and see. I've noticed the stench of animals recently bathing in the water upstream, so we're going to go see what they might be. Possibly they'll be the owl bison that we've been told of.
I hate that we don't have Sarah and Ash here because I think that they would be interested in going, and also Stella has passed without a trace.
Oh yeah, and Naya has speak with animals. So
Yeah, it's like, oh,
well, maybe we won't get there. I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see how.
yeah.
Maybe
So
long enough.
can
yeah,
we wait for next session?
we can definitely wait till next session. I was thinking might be something you guys just kind of walk into, but knowing how you're approaching it, I do kind of feel like yes, it would be good to wait. Um, so yeah, I think it would be good to just leave that aside. If we're okay with, once we wrap up Silas's stuff, we might have a short session still, but also it's already 9:30. So I think, we'll be in a good place. So,
Yep.
I think it would definitely be best to leave this for everyone else.
Yeah, if Luthien wants to do anything at the water too, he could like be filling the time while we were fishing with something, and then we can move on when Naya and Stella are back.
Yeah, Luthien, do you have anything in mind that you'd like to be doing?
I'd like to click on the right webpage so I can unmute my mic, first of all. No, not really. Nothing in particular. He's just, out here with the group while Stella and Silas are trying to walk through the doors of reality that kind of exist but don't really, but hammers, and you don't have to use a hammer, and a lot of it's just kind of over Luthien head.
And so as you guys are hanging out at the water, if Stella is following Cludia's guidance, she'd be finding kind of a little bit of a still water inlet or something where the water's not moving that quick, and she'd be doing kind of like floats and stuff and closing her eyes and kind of it looks like just relaxing in the water, but um you'd probably see her doing things where she like dips beneath the surface and then kind of resurfaces suddenly and kind of gasping for breath um, as she holds herself underwater for a while. And then with that, as you guys go to hunt owl bison or investigate owl bison, let's not make assumptions. We will switch over to Silas and Cludia in a big open field. So they're pretty much dead center there. But so Silas Cludia will uh, advise you ahead of time. Oh, uh, you probably don't need all your armors and weapons, but yeah, if you want to keep up, you can bring Wrath too. He'll probably enjoy the wilderness out there. There's lots of grass and stuff to eat. And you'll need to keep up with me. So yeah. Uh let's uh let's head out, shall we?
You said I do need my armors,
Um
my weapons.
if you have like just a leather armor, that would be plenty, but you might want to have something.
Don't have anything light except for my normal clothes.
Okay. Whatever you're comfortable in. You you won't get hurt that bad.
Okay. Silas is gonna go out with no armors
Okay.
and just his normal casual clothes.
Okay. Um so Cludia will kind of come with me, come with me this way, and start heading down one of the paths um that was not towards the river and not towards the teleportation circle.
Actually, I think he'll leave his weapons behind too.
Yeah, you shouldn't need those. Travel light if you'd like. Uh are you gonna bring Wrath with you?
Yeah, he'll mount up on Wrath.
Okay. Cludia will take off down the path. She's quick and nimble. So you get the sense that like just at your standard pace, like she'd be leaving you behind, but it's just a very comfortable pace for Wrath. You're able to kind of keep side by side. With Wrath not even really breaking a sweat. Um, Down the path. Um, while you're traveling, she'll make some small talk and things like that, and then kind of like get on the topic of your training. And so I know that was probably kind of disheartening, but just because Stella made a breakthrough there doesn't mean that you had to as well. Like, not not everyone learns the same. Like, you uh everyone's different and learns differently. And I honestly wasn't expecting her to even do that. That was kind of a surprise to me. So like, no worries, no frets. I think I have something more up your alley.
Is is this how you kill me? Small talk and reminders of my failures.
uh, uh what I, like I said, I wouldn't say it was a failure. It's performance as expected. This is lots of people have taken much longer than this. So, we'll see how we go today. Um I would you like me to just be quiet?
Some noise is acceptable.
She'll just kind of start humming a tune um as she's kind of trotting, kind of skipping down the path.
Silas is a bit irritated, but he doesn't want to take back what he just said.
After about an hour or so, um I guess roll perception for me. You start to smell that lingering kind of um burnt smell of like an old campfire or something like that on the air. And you start to see the horizon line disappearing because you're up over the grass, so you could see the grass for a long distance, and that the horizon kind of disappears, and there's a point where you can't really see past. And as you get closer, you can see that um the land ahead of you is scorched. um as you continue forward past that, um you start to get to near where the grass ends, and there's a deep trench dug in front of it, and on the other side it's all burnt. um it's probably a mile across at least before you can see any other grass. Things have started to regrow, but the flatness of this land, while very obvious, was masked a bit by the grass itself waving almost like a sea. And this is just a solid open field, completely flat, completely burnt, with little uh I don't know what you call those, the sprouts of life starting to come up through the burnt ground in this just big open field. Open sight lines, across almost a mile, and it almost looks like from side to side, as far as you can see, to the horizon, there's been this um big burn that has gone through the field.
What happened here?
Oh, just a fire.
Just a fire?
Yeah.
Were there no one here to stop it or contain
Oh,
it?
we did contain it. That's what this trench is.
I don't think this is contained.
It fire happens, it spreads, and some life gets wiped out, but more life is able to grow.
Such is that of nature, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Come.
why are we here?
Because it's wide open. You can see, so you won't need to see. Um, Anything that could harm you would be visible long before it could get to you. Uh, so let's head out in the middle.
Are you sure about that? Because if anything sees us, wouldn't that give them ample time to catch us?
Oh, we're fine.
Okay.
Uh, you might want to leave Wrath here where there's stuff to eat.
Dangerous here on the grassland, on the grassy part of this land.
He'll be fine.
There a tree that I can tie a giraffe to.
Um, uh, not that you can see. There'd probably be like rocks and stuff that you could tie a rope around and then tie that through his harness.
I will do that.
Okay. And then do you follow her in?
I'll follow her in.
Okay. So once you're in the middle of this wide open plain, well, burnt plain. So here you can really feel the wind. Um, where before you basically saw it by the waving of the grass. It's pretty strong because there's no trees or anything else to obstruct it and damp it, and even the grass isn't able to um, absorb and damp it either. There's still that kind of smell of burn in the air, but other than that kind of light rushing of the wind, there's very little sound. You don't really hear any birds or anything like that. There's nowhere to really nest here in this open plain. Um, so the meditation and stuff didn't seem to work for you, which is that's fine. It doesn't work for everyone. I get the sense that you're much more of a fighter, of a physical person.
To a sense, yeah, I am.
Yeah, so let's try to use your um your talents to your advantage to uh try to find the planes. To try to find the gaps and try to get your senses going. Does that sound good?
Do I have a choice?
Yeah, you could just walk away, or we could try to find something else. But I think this is probably going to be the best route if you'd like to do this.
Let's do it then.
Okay.
To
Um.
try.
So she'll pull out two sticks that are they're like a 1 inch diameter rod, and they're each about a foot long. They're kind of like a dark wood that's been treated and sealed. On one half of each of them, they'll have a cordage wrapped around them, so they have kind of a grip. Take these. Um,
What are these? Toothpicks?
you'll use them to parry.
Are they long enough?
Yeah, they're as long as you'll need them to be.
Okay.
Okay. And then take this, and she'll hand you a blindfold.
Okay, and he'll wrap the blindfold around his eyes.
Okay. Um You'll hear her voice move to the other side of your head. Now, just slow your breathing. Focus. Picture me charging towards you and be ready to defend yourself.
And that's how Cludia dies.
um Roll for me a perception check and an arcana check. Okay. Oh, you uh w- was that a double roll of the perception, or that was a previous perception?
That was a
The
previous one.
16. Okay. So you're standing there, you're focusing, and you're just trying to sense her coming. And then all of a sudden, thwack on the back of your head, you feel a light tapping of a stick.
Does it hurt?
No, it's not enough to deal physical damage, but I mean, it's like, I mean, it hurts to, it's like noticeable. It's not like it was just a cotton swab, but it wasn't like something that's gonna, leave a wound or anything like that. It's just it's a light thwack.
Ow! And he'll swing backwards at Claudia.
Um, roll a I guess it would just be a strength roll, because these are kind of an improvised weapon, as an attack roll at disadvantage because she's unseen. So just, yes, strength at disadvantage. Okay. With a 15, she, at least, you don't know if she dodges or if you just hit the wrong location or whatever, but you just hit cleaner. No, uh, patience. It's you're not going to get it on the first try. Just just be patient.
And Silas will try to listen for any rustling of like footsteps or breathing or any
Oh,
kind of movement or body movement.
okay. Roll a perception again.
Classic.
And then roll an arcana. And actually, I forgot, I was going to let you roll the arcana as an advantage because of uh Mara's coaching in the morning. Okay. Um you don't hear her anywhere, but you feel vaguely somewhere to your, let's say, northwest. Let's say these are following cardinal directions. In one of those three locations, you feel a sense that she's coming at you from that direction. So you have to choose which direction you want to parry from.
Uh, he's gonna try from the direct behind, like the same place where she hit him before.
Oh, so south?
Oh, I thought that was south. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, but um So just to be clear, the X's were the locations where you started to feel kind of planar disruption in that general direction.
Oh, I see. I'm thinking my back is like Silas's back.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, the direction of the token is purely representative.
So it's more like this, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
So straight ahead of you.
yeah, he'll do straight ahead.
Okay. And then let me roll for her. You feel like you feel something in that direction. You just take kind of a gut instinct that she's coming straight at you. You hold those up, kind of two fists in the air, both of those pointed together so you have the most ability to block possible. And you feel a thwack against them. As blindfolded, you've parried her attack. Oh, very good. See?
What was that feeling that prompted him that it was in one of those directions or somewhere in that direction?
It's hard to explain. Just kind of felt a pull towards it.
Okay. Silas takes a deep breath.
Ready to go again?
Yeah, let's see.
Roll a perception. You don't hear her. Now go ahead and roll your Arcana advantage again. Okay. An 18. You feel disruption in one of these two locations.
Can he take one hand on each and try to block both spots? Like in that general direction of both spots? Or does he have to choose one spot and use both at that one location?
You can try to block both, but it will there will be a modifier on the attack. So yeah, you can try to block both.
I would like to try to block both.
Okay.
He's more trying to understand how to locate rather than the actual parry.
Yeah. Okay. So you kind of get this gut reaction and you just instinctively turn that direction, and you can't really choose which one would be ideal to block, so you try to block both. And then you hear and feel thwack on your head. You feel that one of them was in the right direction, but they were too far apart, and she was able to uh 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 not sneak, but navigate her quarterstaff in between them and thwap you on the head from that one. Oh, hedging your bets. I see. Your instincts seem to be getting there. Want to go again?
Come at me.
Okay. She'll scuttle off and then roll a perception again. Okay. You hear her over there to your east. And now roll an Arcana at advantage again. You feel disruption to the west.
Silas will get that sense of pull from the west and immediately block, or not even block, he'll counter.
Okay.
So he'll block with one hand and like swipe with the other.
Okay. Let's see. Go ahead and roll another strength attack at disadvantage because unseen. So she's coming down with the stick, and you feel it get past your overhand that you're using to block and parry. And she hits it in a way where you feel like the attack's going to go through, but then at the last second she pulls the attack and cocks the quarterstaff to the side to parry your other strike that you're bringing in with. Ooh, crafty.
Didn't think you'd see that one.
Well, I felt it coming, but also I'm not blindfolded. One more go?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Roll a perception. Okay. You hear her up there to the northeast, and now go ahead and roll an Arcana. With an 18, you feel her there right to your east.
Okay. Silas will block with both hands, but as the attack connects, he's gonna try and grab her quarterstaff.
Like try to trap it between the two, or try to release one and grab it.
Release one and grab it.
Okay.
It's just more of a disarm rather than an attack.
Yeah. As you hold him up there to block it, you kind of like feel the staff coming in, and you release and try to grab it. And I guess let me have you roll a strength just to see how well that goes. We'll use the first, but still, that's not enough based on her attack. You go to grab it, and as you go to grab it, she redirects the staff and just kind of whacks you on the knuckles.
Ow.
So you seem to be getting the hang of it. That wasn't so hard, was it?
Yeah, but I can hear you. But
Well, you don't hear me in the way that I'm coming, do you?
it's almost like you're telling me one thing, but I know it's another.
But how do you know which one?
An instinct.
She just kind of boops you on the nose.
Saw that one.
Do you want to train some more? I mean, we're here.
I think I need to think about this more. I need to. You say it's instinct, but how do I know it's instinct and not just thinking it's something else?
Instinct is thinking. It's thinking without thinking.
So how am I supposed to find the gaps this way?
The same way you found me.
Okay. Silas will drop down to the ground on his knees, kind of just sit and rest. Puts the blindfold back on, and he'll just sit there, listen, feel, sense, and kind of just let instinct take over.
As you do that, as you kind of try to pay attention to what you felt as you were defending from attacks, really much more in your own natural arena, um, aligning more with your way of thinking. You hear her walking behind around you, and she gets into almost kind of a dance in a circle around you, and every 15 seconds or so, you can feel and almost hear the sound stop and reappear as she does a little blink um, in and out of space, kind of circling around you. Just so you can feel this sense of space and the planes being pulled apart and slipped through on a consistent basis to get more of a sense of what that feels like.
He'll try his best to ignore the sound and movement of Claudia, but except for that moment when that blink happens.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll either a nature or a perception or an arcana at advantage. I guess not perception, nature or arcana.
Yeah, I think I was leaning more towards Arcana, but
You can, as you start to phase out the trotting of her hooves as she does this kind of um, graceful dance around, you can start to get a sense of her blinks or her jumps through space, and they almost have a rhythm of a dance on their own. You can get to a sense of the pace and of the speed and the trajectory of um, the input and the output of her navigating between spaces.
am I able to reach out and I guess try to touch one of the gaps or kind of place himself right in front of one. Maybe not necessarily even successfully touch it, but at least be in the general area of one.
So like as she's going through, you try to, you can tell the kind of the pace she's going around, but to be close nearby as she does it.
Yeah, like, or one of the gaps that she goes through,
Yeah.
I want to try and just get closer to one of those gaps and see if I notice anything about it.
Okay. Um so you get up onto your feet, and as she passes by, you start walking towards her kind of path of travel, and you don't hear her making any change in what she's doing. You get close to where you think she's going to blink through at a point. She still prances forward, and as she gets right in front of you, she blinks. And go ahead and roll another Arcana. That's just a straight one, this one. You kind of reach forward, not necessarily even kind of physically with your hand, but you kind of reach forward with a limb that you didn't know you had, and you feel yourself just this weight of gravity, just all of a sudden it feels like you're in this kind of sinkhole starting to like pull you down. And roll a wisdom saving throw for me.
Kind of want to intentionally fail. Nah, I'll do it. Okay.
The failure was going to be that you succumb to fear and pull back. With the successful in that it was lower, if you want to continue to lean into it, you can continue to lean into it.
But I felt something.
Yeah. So you feel this it almost feels like you walked off a cliff. You feel this sudden pull of gravity that almost feels like you're in a free fall. Or like you just start like uh you know the feeling when you think you're at the bottom of the steps and you're not watching your feet, and you feel like your foot should be hitting the ground floor, but you still have one more step to go and your foot passes through where you thought the ground was.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that feeling, except like even amped up higher.
Well, Salas knows that physically it's all flat around him.
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere to fall except for that trench and the separation between the burnt land and the grassland, which we're in the burnt land, right?
Yeah, you're like in the middle of the burned area
So
where it's
he can't fall. So
right.
he's gonna try. So he knows he's getting close, so he's gonna try.
You step into a groundhog then. No. You feel yourself kind of being overcome by this overwhelming sense of gravity. And then it relents, but your body was already kind of, it thought it was being pulled downwards. And so you kind of fall to your knees and hit the ground. And your blindfold falls off as your head kind of jerks forwards. And you see Claudia right in front of you, just a big smile on her face and starting to clap. Oh, very good.
Where are the sticks?
They would be in the center of that circle unless you brought them with you.
I would have dropped them.
Yeah, so they'd be in the center of the circle.
But I'm not at that circle.
You're on the edge where she was dancing around. So there's not like physically a circle. She was just going in a circle and you were previously in the middle of it. So if you wanted to feel the gaps that she was going through, you would have to walk to the edge of the circle.
Okay, all right. Happened.
Oh, you went through one. You found a gap. Well, I guess you were able to follow me through a gap. That's a breakthrough.
And there's one right here.
Well, it's not like they're in any one place in space. I mean, you access them through space, but they're not here. Like, it's not like there's one here and there's another one there, and she points like 10 feet away. It's like you find them, but they're not.
Eight one?
You don't create them. You find them, but they're not here. So like I can, and she just kind of like spins around and disappears and appears 10 feet away. Like I can do that, but I can also do it from here, and she blinks in another direction, or from here and she blinks in another direction, and then she walks 5 feet and she blinks again, or from there.
So these gaps, they aren't static.
uh I mean, nothing's static really.
I need to process this. Can we go back?
Yeah, of course. She starts walking towards Wrath and she starts humming her song again and getting in kind of like a mirthful little uh prance almost.
And how's Wrath? He's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. Eating grass.
Alright, I'll prep up Wrath and jump up on him and start heading back.
Okay. Unless you ask her to stop, she's gonna keep humming her little song since you said not complete silence.
He's learning to completely ignore her. Everything she does, her movement and everything. That seems to be key.
Yeah. I'm sure Silas has a lot on his mind. He literally jumped through space between planes today. Um, you'll get back to camp relatively early, like not even quite dinner time. And with that, unless you have anything you'd like to say to Claudia, um, I think we'll end the session there and we'll pick up with the rest of the party and the Owl Bison next time.
Yep, that sounds good to me. And after that, probably next session, Silas would like to try to look into the mirror.
Okay.
More like towards nighttime when everybody's about to sleep.
Yeah, sounds good.
Congratulations on navigating the planes.
He still doesn't fully understand.
So you guys still have a ways to go, but I wanted to role play with both you and Stella how you guys kind of come about the knowledge, because it's kind of a formative experience. So I wanted to we won't micro the whole training, but I wanted you guys to kind of get a sense of the confusion that Silas and Stella would have as they're encountering these new concepts. So now that we have a baseline of that, the training will, over the time of the campaign, it will take longer, but in the time of us as players at the table, we'll kind of be going fast forward through it a little more.